Welcome back to the channel, and in this video we're going to have something a little special for you. Now, one of the hardest examples to find is for a loft, and that's what we're going to be using here. A loft is going to require you to have multiple profiles, right? Meaning that you remember that when we was extruding, that just tells me that give me a profile and send it in a direction. If we're talking about a revolve says give me a profile and give me an axis of revolution, a sweep, profile, and a path. A loft is multiple profiles, meaning that you can have something like a circle that goes into a square that goes into a triangle, right? So you can loft and it will transform and create a 3D model based on the next shape that it can get to. Now, there are some kind of restrictions on that, but for the most part, that's what it's going to do. In this example, that's exactly what we have to do. You can see at the bottom of this, we have a large circle, and then it transforms or transitions into a smaller circle here along the top. We have to create multiple profiles in order to create this, right? So this is probably more or less one of your most simplest ones that you can do, because there's only going to be two profiles. There are other examples that I can give you that have multiple profiles. A loft is also going to be one of your longest or time consuming models that you have to make if you're trying to create something that has multiple lofts on it, right? So this one is going to be super simple. It'll be super quick, and I'm probably, this introduction is probably way as long as it's going to take for us to go ahead and do this. But I just want you to understand, though, that's the most important thing about the loft command is multiple profiles. All right, so let's go ahead and jump over to Solidworks and get started. So we're going to select the new icon here, and then we'll hit the OK button. All right, so remember, the most trickiest thing we have to remember here is we have to create multiple profiles. So I'm just going to start off here with a sketch, and I'll go ahead and put it on the top plane. Once this is set up, I'll go ahead and start with the circle. Go ahead and place it here at the origin. Then I'll come back and I'll put a dimension on it. And this dimension is going to be 340. All right, so once we have our distance set, that's all we're going to need for this sketch. So let's go ahead and exit out of this sketch. I'm going to just kind of rotate this up sideways. I'm going to go to the Features tab here. I'm going to add some reference geometry. So I'm adding a plane. It's looking for a plane. I'm just going to tell it to come and find the top plane. And then here underneath the distance, you can go ahead and type in 315. And it should create a plane that looks just like this one. All right, let's go ahead and hit the OK button. We're going to create another sketch here, so I'll just go to the sketch, create a circle, and I'm just going to place this circle here on the outside. Let's go ahead and put some dimensions on it. This one is going to have a diameter of 170. Let's go ahead and put a distance between that center and this center. And remember from the drawing, that is going to be 225. Then let's escape out of that dimensioning. I'll select this center here. Make sure you hold down the Shift button. Select that center. Make them horizontal. That one should be defined now. Let's go ahead and exit out of this sketch. All right, so now we have our multiple profiles. Remember, so that should be one of the things that should set you up here, is that we have multiple profiles. Okay, let's go ahead and hide this plane. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and create a loft. So let's go to the features. Let's go to a loft. And what it's asking me for now is what profiles I want to pick. Remember, there's kind of a couple of different ways of this, and sometimes it is depending on what you select. So if I select somewhere along this side of this sketch, and I select somewhere along maybe this side of this sketch, you're going to see that it does give it a little twist to it, right? So do be careful on what you select. My advice to you would be not to select it that way, but if I'm going to do a loft, what I usually do is that I'll go ahead and expand my browser here, and I will select sketch 1. Then I'll select sketch 2, and you can see from here you get a totally different profile just depending on what you select. So I have those two profiles, and it's going straight up that direction. Go ahead and hit the OK button here. Alright, so the next thing I want to do is I want to use the mirror command. So I'll go to mirror, which is located here. It's asking me what face do I want to use as the mirror face. I'm going to use the right plane here. And you can see that that one is the one that's cutting through here. And then I'm going to come down here where it says bodies to mirror, right? So I'm going to select here. And then I'll go ahead and select my loft. And some reason it's not letting me select the loft as a body. Okay, let's see if I can get that to do it one more time. Nope. Okay, let's go ahead and say features then. Since it won't give me the body, well, I should have thought of that at first. So it is a feature. I do have a body up here if I want to use that one. Let's see if that one will work. I'm just kind of experimenting here for a second. If I go to bodies to mirror, if I come up here, will it give me that body? And yes, it does. So it does depend on where you select that. If I wanted to go to a feature, I could use this one, and then I can select here as a feature. All right. So now that I have that body, let's go ahead and hit the check mark here, and you can see that I do have my two shapes here. Okay. So now you can see that's half of the work that I need to do. Let's go ahead and extrude these parts here. Now, I guess I could have done that already, and then I would have mirrored the body. But let's go ahead and put a sketch right on top of here. So I'll select that top face, do that. I'll go to convert. Then I'm just going to select that circle there and that circle there. That's all I need to do. Let's go ahead and exit out of here. And it looks like it didn't give me that one. Let's go back to that sketch. So I'm just going to select it here, and I'll do a right click and go to edit sketch. Let's go ahead into this convert. And I need to convert that line there. Okay, much better. Let's go ahead and exit out of the sketch. I'll use the extrude command. It should be able to find that plane. And for some strange reason, it's not finding both of my sketches here. That is something weird. Let me go ahead and disregard all of this and see why it's not finding my sketch that I put on here before. And so I do have a sketch that's there. If I go to extrude, I do have a couple of existing sketches, and for some reason I'm trying to figure out why it's not grabbing those two sketches. But I'll force it to by selecting it from there. And then I'll give it a height, which is set to 40. That's what I'm going to use for that. And then I'm going to flip down here to the bottom. Let's go back to the extrude command. I'm going to select this face here. I'll go to convert. And I should be able to find that circle of all of this by selecting that face. Go ahead and hit the check mark. That should be completed. Let's go ahead and exit out of the sketch. It should automatically find this face for me. Let's kind of rotate this going up. And yes, I do want this to go up a height of 40 as well. Hit the check mark on this one. And then the last step I need to do is go ahead and give this a shell, right? So let's go ahead and shell this. Use the shell command. It should pick up my solid here. I'm going to select that face here, that face, and this face. And then we're going to put in a diameter, a thickness, which is going to be 2 millimeters. And once I hit the apply button here, it should be actually shelling this out. Okay, now I should be able to look through this and look around it, and that's exactly what happened. All right, so hopefully you enjoyed this short little video. Just the most important thing to remember that is that anytime you want to create a loft, just remember multiple profiles. Luckily for us, this one only had 2 profiles, but there are some more complicated lofts. Sometimes it's easier to create it in another program, and what I usually do for more complicated lofts is I'll usually open up AutoCAD and I can sketch it out in there really quick, and then I'll convert it and bring it over to whatever program that I want to use. But Remember that it's going to be a dummy part at that. If you do that, you won't have all of these options here. Okay. But anyway, that might be something that I do in a later video. But thank you for watching this video. And as always, keep drafting. Till the next time, thank you for watching.